the inclusion of Che Adams. He's probably the headline grabber, maybe because he's played for England under 20s. Can you just talk about the chronology as well? Because I think he maybe turned Scotland down at one point, but he's now come back on board.
Yeah, I believe he spoke to Scotland. I think Alex was the manager 4 years ago. So 4 years ago he'd have been 19, 20-year-old on the back of playing a couple of friendly matches for England under 20. So it's not as if he's got a long history with England. At that time, as a young man, he was playing in the English Championship. Obviously got his move to the English Premier League. Thankfully for us, I heard a little whisper early last week, that he was looking forward or had decided that he wanted to come on board. I had a good chat with him a couple of times last week, and things moved very quickly thanks to Frank Riley and the admin staff at the Scottish FA. The paperwork's been done, and I named Shea in the squad. It's an area of the team that we have to try and improve.
Did you get the impression from him, in fact, did he tell you that he's desperate to play for Scotland, he really wants to play for Scotland? What convinced you in your own mind that it was the right time?
It's the right time, first of all, because he showed an inclination to play for Scotland. So that makes a big difference. And then after that, it's a matter of having a conversation with Shea, which I did. We spoke about the future. We didn't speak just about the near future. We spoke about the far future. For me, Shea at 24 years of age can go on and have a long and hopefully distinguished Scottish career. And that's one thing, if I take from my own playing days, I only managed to get 6 caps. I didn't really have an international career. And I think if you're a top player, you want to have an international career. And I think Shea can have that with Scotland.
Kevin Nisbet being brought in as well reinforces your striking options. I know that goals have been harder to come by than you'd like, and that's a big move for him, because it's just over a year since he was playing for Dunfermline in the Championship. Yes, it is, but I think he's shown this year in the Scottish Premier League that he's got an eye for a goal. He can score at that level. He's been good. I like his movement. I like the way he gets free in the box. And like I said before, it is an area of the pitch where I have to keep looking, because we need to score more goals. We haven't scored many goals recently. In fact, the last 3 goal scorers are in the squad. Dykes, Fraser and Christie. They're all there. But it would be nice if we could get more from the forward players. And that's the reasoning behind putting two new caps into the forward area of the pitch.
London at the moment on club duty isn't doing as well in front of goal. Have you had to speak to him about that? Obviously he's kept his place, but have you spoken to London?
No, I'll speak to him when he comes into camp. I think when they're with the clubs, I like to leave them to their own devices. I like them to obviously play well for their clubs, but it's down to the club manager. Lyndon's goal scoring return is 2 and 7, I think, for Scotland, which is a really good international goal scoring return. And hopefully coming back with us, he gets that little boost and he manages to nick a few goals in the upcoming 3 games.
In terms of players that have maybe missed out this time, David Turnbull has obviously been playing with for Celtic, and there was maybe a few suggestions that he might have earned himself a call up.
Yeah, good player, David, and done well this year to break into the Celtic team. Looks a good prospect for us. Unfortunately for David, he's trying to get into what is probably the strongest area of the pitch. I mean, I mentioned Ryan Christie, you've got Ryan Fraser, Stuart Armstrong, John McGinn, all his attacking midfield players, and it's an area of the pitch that we're strong in. But I'm sure if David keeps up his current form, his chance won't be too far away.
Steve, how much of a coup or a boost do you think it is getting some of the quality of Che Adams in your squad?
Well, only time will tell, but I think at the moment it's something that the player himself is excited to be coming to play for Scotland, and hopefully the lads in the squad will realise that Shea can bring something a little bit different.
What is that different, do you think, he gives and that the others maybe don't have, or that might complement each other?
No, well, at the moment he's an English Premier League striker in good goal scoring form. Plays for a good club, he plays a good way. I like his movement on the pitch. He's a strong boy. He's not tall, but he's good in the air. He can run the channels. He's got a lot to his game that I think will certainly make the squad better, and hopefully will make the team better as well. And that's what you've always got to try and do. You know, I think obviously the euphoria of qualifying for the Euros in the summer sort of died down a little bit, and now we have to address some areas on the pitch that are a little bit of a concern that we need to try and improve. And with the inclusion of Shea and Kevin Nisbet, that's what I've tried to do up front.
Sure. Just looking at the defence, Steve, Liam Cooper, is there an injury there, and are you still planning to play McTominay in the back three?
2 questions in one. Love it.
Yeah.
Liam's unavailable. His club haven't put out the problem, but I've spoken to Liam. He's unavailable, which is a shame. And I'm planning to play with Scott. Obviously, I've added 2 new central defenders to the current group, and Grant Hanley and Jack Henry. I'm looking for a right-sided centre-back that can give us a little bit of pace and cover on the right-hand side. That doesn't mean to say that I don't play Scott McTominay there, because he's been outstanding in that position. But watching him play for Manchester United in the Premier League, he's also been outstanding in that position. So he's given me a great problem, Scott, and it's one that I look forward to solving.
You've obviously got 3 very good goalkeepers there, Steve. Were you tempted to make a call to Allen, given his form this season at Rangers?
No, I think the goalkeeping department's been good for me. I trust my 3 goalkeepers implicitly, and I like the dynamic in that group. So that's fine. Listen, Alan McGregor's been outstanding for Rangers this year, and he probably is bearing the fruit of his decision to retire a few years ago from international football, because it's prolonged his club career. And they've had a fantastic season and another Premier League title for Alan to put in his trophy cabinet.
Steve, just finally for me, if I can switch to the Euros. I mean, how much of a... I'm just trying to get the possibility of fans or not fans, or even games taking place at Hampden. I mean, it will be quite a bad one if we don't get to play the games at Hampden, eh?
It would be a blow. But obviously we have to be guided by the pandemic first and foremost is going to determine everything. Now, there seems to be a little bit more hope around with the vaccinations. We seem to be getting on top of it that way. I'm pleased to say that I got my first vaccination last week, so I'm in that process. No side effects, everything good. And it's going to be great if we can get a crowd into Hampden. It's going to be great if we can have those matches in Scotland in the summer. But it's really out of my hands. It's not something that I can control. It's not something that anybody can do anything about. I'd like to think that there will be enough time for the Scottish Government to convince UEFA that there will be a crowd. There will be a crowd of sorts at Hampden. Whether it's a full house, I don't think so. But whether we can meet the required amount to make it. Listen, the stadiums are empty at the moment, so any crowd that we get in Hampden will be a big step forward. The more we can get, the better. And hopefully, like I said before, the Scottish Government can confirm that to UEFA, and we can get the games on at Hampden, because that's what we want.
Especially given we've waited so long to play in a major championships, and then one is at our backyard. No,
I think we all want the tournament to go ahead in its original format, and I think that applies for every country that's got games. They all want the games to be played in the original format, and if we can get that in the summer, that would be great.
Steve, just going back to your defence, Grant Hanley and Jack Henry included. Can you give us the thought process behind bringing those 2 back into the fold?
Well, Grant was actually named in the squad in November. Picked up a hamstring strain and didn't travel with us. Grant's experienced. He's got a number of caps from a few years ago. He hasn't been in any of my camps, but he's got good experience, playing outstandingly well, probably in the best form of his career in the English Championship, and a Norwich team that's doing very, very well. I think he's played something like 29, 30 consecutive games, which is, I would imagine, the longest run that he's had in his career, a consecutive game. So he's in a good shape. Jack Henry's a player that I liked when he was at Dundee. I saw him up close. He's got good attributes, Jack. A little bit surprised it didn't work out for him at Celtic, if I'm being honest. But he's shown a good maturity and moving away and trying to restart his career elsewhere. He's had a good season in Belgium. Unfortunately, with the circumstances just now, I haven't been able to go and watch him live. I've seen a lot of his matches on various media platforms. I won't name tag the one that I use, but he's done well. Sometimes the best way, if you can't get to see them live, is to bring them into the squad and have a look. So Jack's in the squad, and we can have a look in training.
You talked about bringing new strikers to have a look. It's kind of a problem area. The right wing back position's been held down by Stephen O'Donnell for quite a while now. You've also got Liam Palmer in there. Did you think about perhaps bringing someone like Nathan Patterson, who's impressed in Europa League, or even Sean Rooney from St Johnstone scoring all those goals at Hampden?
Sean scored one at Hampden. Yeah, he did well. It was a great day for the Perth Saints. So delighted for Callum. Stephen O'Donnell, I think, has done very, very well for Scotland. I understand there's always people that want to talk Stephen down, but his recent performances, if you took away the name and the club he played for, you'd all be saying he's a good player. So I think we need to show a little bit of respect to people that have served the country well. Liam Palmer, any time I've added him into the squad, has done well. He's never let me down. He's never let his country down. Nathan Patterson is a very good player, and he's got a very big future in front of him. But listen, he's only a young boy. He's only just broken into the Rangers team. Let's give him a little bit of time so that he can settle in, see how his career goes. But a big player for the future, for sure.
Lee Griffiths has seemed to have reached a crucial juncture of his club career. Have you spoken to him personally, or do you have a message for him at this stage of his time?
No, I spoke to all the players that were in the squad in November and are not in the squad this time. I've explained the situation, I've explained why I've left them out, and obviously those conversations will remain private.
Last couple of questions, please, folks.
Steve, is it a help or a hindrance that you've got, obviously, the start of a World Cup qualifying campaign coming in as you prepare for a massive summer championships at the Euros? I mean, I guess these are what the last 3 competitive matches that you'll have to get things absolutely spot on for the summer, but you'll also want to get off to a flyer for the World Cup.
It's a little bit unusual, the situation, obviously, with the Euros being delayed by a year. So to have so many, or to have 3 important World Cup qualifiers, just focuses my mind, and hopefully it focuses the mind of the players, because the only thing that's important in the short term is the World Cup qualifiers. We want to go off to a good start. We want to be competitive. We don't want to be a squad of players and a management team that only get to one finals, one championships. We want to qualify for the World Cup in Qatar 2022. In March, we'll have a big bearing on that campaign.
Gav, do you have a final question?
Cheers, Ross. Steve, was it a relief that the game against Austria will go ahead at Hampden, and with their travel issues, does it give Scotland a better chance, you think?
I think the thing to say on that is 100% sympathy with the Austrians and the situation they find themselves in. And to be fair to ourselves, I believe in discussions with UEFA and Austria, we offered to flip the fixtures, which was quite a fair offer, because it would have meant that we were starting Austria away, Israel away would have been a tough start. But the problem that gave Austria was 3 home games in March and 3 away games in September, and they decided with the logistics, and I can see the reasoning why they didn't want 3 games away in September, because we had the same in November, and by the time we got to the Israel game, the 3rd game of the road trip, if you like, the boys were pretty much emotionally and physically drained. So I can understand why they've chosen to go the way they've gone. They must be confident that they can get a strong Austrian team on the pitch, even without so many players from Germany.
So we've got time for one more on the B teams. Steve, is there a plan being put to the clubs that might help a national manager in the future? That the idea that Celtic and Rangers and maybe other clubs' B teams could go into the lower divisions to give younger players a chance to get competitive football. Do you think that's a good idea? Is that something that could help you or another Scotland manager in the future? Just get your take on that.
It would something I'd need to have a little bit more background on it to make an informed comment on something like that, because I don't really have any background on it. So maybe one for me to get some background on, and then ask me again.
Thanks.
Okay.
Final question on how the message to any players that haven't made the cut, that are looking to make the cut come the Euros.
The message is always the same: keep doing well for your club, catch the eye. And the Euros is a different competition. It's 3 games in March. The boys that are named in the squad for the March games will obviously have a chance to impress in training and matches if selected. And everyone else has to do well for the club. Like I said, I've spoken to all the players who were in the November squad. They know my thoughts. They know why they've been they know why they've not been selected this time. But it doesn't mean to say that they can't be selected in the future, because the makeup of a squad for a major tournament will probably be slightly different than the makeup of this squad, which is for a 3-game run over a period of 10 days.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.